2, 1.
Namaste. My name is Susan, and this is the Awakened Heart radio program. Michele, come have a seat with me.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Oh, what a treat to get to speak with Susan today.
Yeah, this is going to be a bit different. Today, what we are experiencing is a last-minute change in plans. And we had two choices. One would have been to cancel the radio program, to get an opportunity to rearrange everything and to get everything back in order and to have a plan. Because really, as humans, that's kind of what we like to do. The other opportunity was to go with the flow. You know, I really believe that God changes the plans sometimes for a very divine purpose. We don't always know what that is, and it really doesn't always feel very good. But this program is actually all about speaking truths. You know, my goal is to be an authentic human being. And it's really authentic, actually, for me to sit here with you today with no plan and to speak with you about how that feels for me and to just kind of have an experience and let it unfold kind of naturally.
Yes.
And I'm really excited that Michele was brave enough to join me on the couch. So thank you so much, Michele.
It's my pleasure. Yes, we do tend to plan everything out, and sometimes our plans aren't the plans that are supposed to be. So
Exactly.
I'm excited to talk today. Normally we'd have a call in, but since I'm on the couch and not managing the switchboard,
Yes.
we apologize that you won't be able to call in live this time.
Yeah, sorry about that. And I hope from the bottom of my heart that the volume is good and that you can see us well, because we don't have an operator, as Michele has abandoned that role today at my request. So again, thanks, Michele. You know, this is a beautiful opportunity. One of the things that we were going to talk about today is awakening from a oneness perspective. Now, there are many different types of awakening, and I'm sure Michele, with all the different radio programs that she has, you know, is learning a lot about those different experiences that are going on out there. You know, we have entered the Golden Age, and there are many different ways of awakening, and it means many different things. But for oneness, so for myself, what it actually means is it's a neurobiological shift in the brain. So I went to India willingly and said, do this change to my brain. I know this is what I'm supposed to experience. And of course I went there with certain concepts that were rapidly dissolved because I really didn't understand what it was I was stepping up to the plate to experience. And, you know, after we finished and we experienced this, they sent us off into the world and they said, okay, now your job is to share this experience with as many people as you possibly can. They said to us that when you share, your brains will actually sync up. So the people that listen to you share will start to have that same shift in their brain. And how beautiful will that be? Because that's what we want in this world, is for us all to start having these kinds of shifts in our brain so that we can experience life in naturally the way we're supposed to experience it. But that doesn't mean that it's all joy-filled. I was talking with Michele a little bit about this before we sat down. And what I can share with you right now is exactly what happened to me when the plans changed. Because this is part of my work. What happens when we experience something that we don't expect or we don't want, or maybe we could even say we don't really like it. You know, the plans changed at the last moment today, and it did not please, you know, aspects of Susan that like to have control. Oh, I'm having a radio program at 3:30 with this person and this person, and I had some notion of how my life was going to unfold this afternoon.
Right.
Yes? And
Yes.
so did Michele.
Yes, true.
Right. So,
Preparing.
exactly.
Yes.
So I'm going to share with you, because in Oneness they teach us to sit and be with the what is. And so many people,
Want to run away from that.
well, absolutely they want to run away. And a lot of people don't really understand even what that means.
Right.
So this is a perfect opportunity, because guess what? I'm actually sitting with the what is as I'm speaking to you. Now, I probably look fairly normal,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not freaking out.
You don't look aggravated or
No.
angry or anything. You look.
Okay, but I'm going to tell you what's really happening inside.
Please do.
All right, first, look at my face, right? It's probably a little red,
It's
yes?
a little flushed. Yes.
Okay, why? Because I have emotions flowing through me. Emotions are energy in motion, right? So I have feelings flowing through me. What's really interesting is when you start to notice these emotions, they actually don't really feel that much different from each other. In other words, let's say I was really excited and happy right now. I'd probably look like this too,
Yes.
right?
Yes, you would.
So what am I really experiencing? I'm not even sure I can give it a name. Probably a little bit of frustration, maybe some embarrassment. I don't know. What about you? What happened for you when we shifted midstream?
A little bit of disappointment, because we had been promoting this, and
Right.
I do believe people were looking forward to watching the show and hearing what those guests had to say. As they watch the show to see you as you host the show, but they are interested in what you've planned.
Right, the topic, sure.
Yes.
Okay. So what does that feel like for you? Can you, like, if you just close your eyes for a minute, can you feel anything flowing through you that feels different than when you're just calm? Nothing's happened.
Heart rate maybe goes up a little bit, not on this one because
Right.
I wasn't really that ruffled.
Right.
Because I've learned to
Go with the flow.
go in stride in this as a producer.
Yes.
You really have to learn that whole control issue.
Yes.
Mostly my feelings were towards you.
Mm-hmm.
I probably was transferring and empathizing or trying to find out where you're coming from and how I can assist you.
Okay.
That's where I was
Cool.
when it happened.
So, this is the thing about sitting with the what is. What's flowing through me really has nothing to do with today. I mean, it sure feels like it does. I could tell some really good stories about who's responsible and what happened that made me feel this way. But what I've learned through Oneness and my experiences is that we call these triggers. They're triggers. So something happens out there. Someone says something, someone does something, and we feel some emotion come up, and it's not positive, and we start to feel it. It can be in our chest. It can be in our stomach. We can feel sick to our stomach, maybe. We might start crying. We might start laughing.
Right.
We might act in all sorts of strange ways. We may say really nasty things. We may feel really angry and come up with some really big stories about how responsible, someone in this time frame is for our feelings. But interestingly enough, it's not really about now. Somewhere, Susan sitting right here, developed this program inside that said, when people do this, I'm going to feel like this.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I never finished it. Why didn't I? Probably because one of my parents said, stop crying. Don't be ridiculous. Or I was at school and they said, my goodness, you're a big girl. Stop it. Because we really are encouraged, in the society to suppress our emotions. Has that not been your experience, Michele?
Yes.
As a little one?
Of
Yes?
course,
Yeah.
yes.
So what happens is they get stuck. And there are these unfinished emotions that just sit there in our body somewhere, right? And they just wait. And then someone comes along and goes, pink, and they say something or they do something, and that sets it all off. And we go into this experience. So sitting with the what is actually not fighting that, because we naturally want to fight it all the time. Right? A lot of times we have to, because we have to get it together, because we're big girls now, right? So, oh my, I have to get it together because I have a radio show, or, I have to get it together, I have to go to work, or,
right.
Something like that,
yes,
right?
Yes.
But interestingly enough, if you start to really learn to sit with this, really just let it flow through you, don't fight it, right? It really isn't that bad. We've been trained to think, oh, it's so terrible. I don't want to be angry. I don't want to be sad. I hate that. Oh, it's horrible. But it really isn't. It's just energy. It's just energy that gets stuck. Yeah. And so I can tell you that I'm sitting here talking to you right now, and I'm not fully present to my emotions, clearly, because I'm trying to have a conversation. But I can feel them within. And when I finish with the show, I will go sit. And I will finish this with the hope that I actually let myself fully experience it. And if I do that, the next time I have a similar experience, it may not be a charge at all, or I may experience a charge, but each time it'll be a little bit less because I'm cutting through the layers. So this is like a perfect chance to talk about this, because we always are saying, and one is, well, sit with the what is. But, I think a lot of people really struggle, like, what does that even mean? Exactly.
Right.
So does that make sense to you?
Yes, and you actually shared this with me, since we happen to be friends. You shared this with me last week when I was going through something.
Yes.
And you reminded me that we have to just sit there and follow it through. Don't judge it, just watch it.
Yeah. And how did it help? Did it work for you?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yes, it did.
Very good. So, one of the things we were going to talk about today was addressing maybe some questions or misperceptions, anything like that with regards to India and awakening. Of course, I can only speak to my experience. So I want to be really clear that, when I go here, I'm not telling you the way it is or giving you information. I'm really just sharing with you how I've had that experience. But I think we really need to talk with each other more and more about these things, so that more and more people feel safe and excited, to step up to the plate and take their next step, in their awakening journey, because it is an amazing step and something we're all being called to do right now. We have entered the golden age, everybody.
Yay!
It's time. It is time to step up to the plate. If you're listening to this broadcast, you are one of the people who is being asked to step up to the plate. I promise you. It is only those people that even know what I'm talking about that are playing a role in heralding this new consciousness in. That doesn't mean that in the end everyone won't be involved, because of course that's what we want. But there are people that are here to help this happen. And those are the way showers. Those are the people that are really willing to step up to the plate. And we really need to look within and find out what that means for us. So I would love if Michele could maybe even address, she's in the Oneness Movement with me. She hasn't yet gone to India, but I know that it's certainly in her mind, in her heart, to think about doing that. And I think we'll just talk a little bit about what some of the misconceptions or questions might be about this shift that happens in someone's brain.
Right. A lot of it you've talked about before, but it's always good to go over these things again.
Yeah.
But a lot of the questions that people ask me that I come across is, well, do I have to go to India for this? Is that the only way I'm going to awaken is if I go to India?
That's a really good question. It really is.
I get that so often.
Yes. And the answer is no. You do not have to go to India. I think, in my understanding, when I was in India, just like there are way showers for the Golden Age, there are way showers for oneness. You know, people who are just so drawn to it that they have to go to India. It's like, it's a compulsion. Like, I found out about India and it was like, I must go. And so for me, that means part of my being a way shower is to become a trainer in oneness and to speak about it at every opportunity I get. But when we give Diksha, which we do in many different environments now. We're at Unity giving Diksha. We're up in Red Rock, thanks to Lauren giving Diksha.
Yes.
We have Diksha, Just Breathe. Every time we give Diksha, which is the blessing when we touch your head, it's a blessing that comes through us that's designed to activate that shift in the brain. We also have sacred chambers that are opening up all over the world. And we have one operating here that is designed to speed up that process, so to speak, to really push you so that you're moving faster into the awakening process. So that's a really good question, because India isn't even designed to handle the whole world showing up at their doorsteps, right? Can you imagine?
That'd be interesting, yes.
Yeah.
So I would think that the next question that comes along is, okay, so if I do go to India, what happens? How do things accelerate in India? What is the advantage of going to India? I think that's probably the question. First question is, do I have to go to India to awaken?
Right.
You've answered that.
Yes.
And now, what is the advantage of going to India?
Well, seeing as I just went in December, January, and I'm actually going back this July, I'm a good person to ask that question, because I just adore the process. To me, it was the most amazing experience I have ever had. One of the reasons India is so powerful is once you commit, like, okay, I'm going to set aside 28 days of my life that is solely dedicated to my spiritual growth. I mean, what do you think is going to happen? The universe responds to such an intention and such a commitment. They're like, okay, you want to grow a lot in 28 days? No worries. We're going to help you with that.
Right.
So I think it really, again, I've noticed with India, people, it's either, yep, I got to go, or not so much. Like, it just doesn't pull them. You are immersed in processing this stuff that we were talking about earlier, this uncomfortable stuff. Well, this is a deep immersion in that. So as joyful and as fun certain aspects are of India, the dancing and the beautiful ceremony and ritual and so
Tradition.
much beauty, but you also go through lots of deep charges and some very deep inner work. So it's not an easy ride, and more so for some people over others. I think it depends how much of a journey you've been on before you show up there.
Right. I would say it's like anything that you endeavor to do. The more you immerse yourself into that, the more quickly and more benefits you receive from that. So if your goal is truly to awaken, and you could do everything at home every day yourself, go to every type of event, watch processes on live stream, whatever you can get your hands on, which I know you did prior to going to India.
Yes.
I know for myself, when I do hear the monk, like when I get to hear Doug Bentley talk from India, and we get to, as much as our trainers here, Deborah and Neil, and share with us amazing stuff, it's just so in the moment, coming from India in the movement that where the avatar is, and this information is being downloaded from source, divine, whatever you'd like to call it.
Yes.
So I think there's also a question that comes into people's mind when entertaining going there. One, a fear comes up, I'm
Right.
sure. Two is they may say to themselves, because they don't think they can come up with the financial means if they are not financially able at the time, that may scare some people, and they might just sort of think, well, I can't afford it. So,
Yeah.
you know, I think you need to be careful if you really want to do something and you really have the desire and the desire is there, but then you fall back on not having the prosperity to do it.
Yes.
So maybe you can address that.
Yeah, that's a multifaceted question, because we limit ourselves clearly with our thoughts. The moment that we have a thought that I really can't afford to do something, we set that intention into the universe. And the only reason we don't understand how clearly we create our reality is because we live in time. So there's a delay. So let's say, I don't want to put a negative intent in the universe, but I don't want to give an example because then I'll actually do it. But let's say I have a really negative thought about somebody, okay? And then 2 days later I see them and they act in this horrible way towards me. I think, see, I knew they would do that. Like, I knew they were a bad person, right? But in reality, the reality is that I actually made that happen, in a sense, by putting the thought out there.
Right.
The reason that I don't get that is because the 2 days went by. But, we could go into a whole long discussion about what an illusion time is, because it really is an illusion. So I say, please be so careful about the thoughts that you put out, because we are truly, especially as the vibration goes up, we create our reality so fast.
Yes.
So you want to go to India, you start seeing, oh, I have the money to go to India. You start knowing that for yourself. You start praying for that, and you start watching, seeing that manifesting. If you have much fear about going to India or stepping up in any way spiritually, we can fall into, oh, well, I would, but I can't because I don't have the money. So they're actually preventing me by making it cost so much. And see, then we're projecting our fear out there. And we're actually like, oh, it's not my fault. Like, I would go, but I can't because they made it too expensive. And we do that. We do little mind games and things. So I would, yes, there is a financial commitment. It's not cheap to fly halfway across the world. But if you want that, you absolutely can make that happen for yourself. It just may not be within the time frame that you're hoping. And, again, some of that has to do with when we actually are supposed to experience something. If you really, according to, the Akashic records or karma or however you want to think of it, aren't meant to have your awakening for a year, then it may seem like the reason you're not going is financial, but it may just be because the universe understands it's not your time for a year. And then all of a sudden it just may free up and you're like, oh, now I can go.
Right.
So there's so many different factors, that play into that.
Now, going to India is for people that have experienced Diksha, have come to a oneness gathering. For those people that are listening, watching, either live or in the future in the archives, and they're just hearing about this Diksha oneness awakening.
Like, what are they talking
about? How would they find a place near them to have this experience without having to worry about going to India?
That's really a beautiful question. Thank you. So you really need to go online. Wherever you live, I can guarantee you that there is some oneness events or live streams, something that's available to you. So if you go online and you Google oneness, I'm not going to try and put out all the websites by memory because I may get, one wrong. I can certainly go on and post it on Facebook. But there is a Oneness USA Canada site.
Okay.
There are sites all over the world. So oneness is an international phenomenon. It is, when I went to India, there were people from all over the world there. The thing that I would suggest to you is that you find if there's a group locally, because then you can experience the blessing. You can also Google on live stream, go on live stream and start exploring. There are so many people out there doing broadcasts. We have a local trainer here that does beautiful question and answer sessions and meditations and healing sessions. And there are oneness meditators all over the world. So this is available in some format for everybody. And if you're drawn to it in any way, please take a look at it. We need as many people as possible stepping into their spiritual truth. This is the time when we really need that. If it's not oneness for you, no problem. Find out what it is for you, because there are so many different ways to grow on this planet, and we need all the people that were sent here for this very purpose to wake up to that and to step into their role. It's so important.
Yes. Oneness, compared to many other paths or whatever you want, oneness embraces all paths, as we know. It embraces Christianity, Buddhism, Muslimism, Jewish, Native Americans,
everybody,
Earth worshippers, whatever.
Yes.
So it's pretty easy to follow. I mean,
there's no dogma. I think that's the key. One of the most beautiful things about it is there is no dogma. What does that mean? There really are no rules, like, oh, you must do this and you must, dance this way and worship this way and pray this way. They want the world. It's two of the most beautiful avatars have shown up in India, and their sole job is to help the world to awaken. That's why they're here. And that means to awaken to your truth. And like you said, that could be Buddha. That could be Christ. That could be Kuan Yin. That could be Isis. That could be Mother Gaia. That could be the trees.
Right.
It can be the light. You can have a formless God. You can see God in every single thing on this planet and not in actually a form like a person. That's very beautiful. And all of those are embraced very, very openly in oneness.
I mean, we do play chants and we do chants and kirtans on some of our events, but you don't have to come and learn a chant. You just come and receive a blessing. We place our hands on your head, and you just receive the divine and have that neurological shift occur in your brain, and you really may or may not feel anything, but it may unfold that day, or it may unfold the following week or month, or...
Yeah, and that's such a good point, because it actually takes time for some people. We don't know. We don't fully understand it. Someone described it one time to me as it's kind of like knocking on the door, right? They're trying to create a shift in your brain, and it's like, hello, okay, we're trying to get in there, right? And for some people, like the first time they have a diksha, like it's like there's a major opening, and they're sitting there like going, oh my gosh, what did I just experience? For other people, maybe there's not such an opening. So, there's knocking for a while. So every time we give them Diksha, it's like, we're knocking, are you ready? Are you ready?
Right.
And that might take longer to unfold. That's perfectly fine. We're all on we're all on a different rate, on a different path.
Right.
So, I know some people get a little worried about that. Like, oh my gosh, I had Diksha and nothing happened. No problem with that. And again, some people feel things a lot more than others.
Right.
I mean, for me, like, I feel so much, so that's really cool for me, but I don't see a lot. So, I hear other people going, oh my gosh, I saw, Jesus show up and these blue lights circling, and I'm like, what are they talking about? We're all so different. And so you just enjoy your experience, even if it doesn't feel like you had an experience at all, because it's perfect for you.
Right. So we do play two chants often during the Diksha.
Yeah.
One, the Devi prayer that we usually play while giving Diksha.
Yeah.
And then there's the Mula mantra.
Mm-hmm.
Could you explain those two and a little?
Yeah.
Or?
I mean, I can't give you the translation per
Right.
se. The Mula mantra, I mean, one of the things that I think I really want to make clear, the avatars for this awakening happen to show up in India. So it is only natural that the Oneness Movement, when they turn to ritual and things like that, they naturally gravitate towards things that are associated with India.
Right.
Because that's where
So
these
there.
avatars are.
Right.
So if they'd shown up in the U.S., which could have happened, right?
Right.
We would be doing probably much more with Christ. Because Christ is much, we associate here, just the way that we've been brought up, and our religions are much more geared towards Christianity
Right.
than in India.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm speaking generalities.
Yes.
So the Mula mantra is a beautiful mantra that is very powerful, that is basically a worship prayer to the different forms of God, especially the male-female aspect of God, from an Indian perspective, because it's in Sanskrit. So it's something very beautiful that we tap into. One of the reasons I really gravitate towards some of these more ancient type languages is because we're tapping into thousands of years of intent that lay behind them, whereas some of the newer thought, newer religions just don't have that history behind them, so you don't have as much intent to tap into, if that makes sense. So the Mula mantra, something we chant and sing all the time. It's a form of worship. The Devi prayer is just a beautiful song that we play when we give Diksha, and one of the reasons it's so perfect is because it's a 21-minute song. And 7 is a very sacred number within the Hindu religion. So we're trying to, it's groups of 7. So when we give Diksha, it'll be 7, 14, or 21. So the Devi prayer is perfect because we have 21 minutes and we know that it's done.
Right.
That's really the intent behind that. Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Since we're talking about that.
Diksha.
We
Yeah.
are actually going to do some.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
We always, one of the things about this show that I will always end with Diksha, because that is a blessing that I'm able to give. Understand, I'm not doing a thing. Michele gives Diksha as well. She's not doing a thing. We have been allowed, given the opportunity to let this blessing flow through us. So really, we as people, as Michele and Susan, our only job is to step aside and let the divine flow through us. And it's such a beautiful thing, and we'll always end the show with that. So are we ready to move into that? I think we're going to do 14 minutes
Right,
today.
and since obviously we aren't laying our hands on your head, this is intention
Yes,
Diksha.
this is, thank you. That would be difficult, wouldn't it? Yes, and when we give intention Diksha, it's because we don't have access to your head. So we'll just put our hands in the air. And our intent for you is your awakening, your transformation, which is growth in your heart as you move through your spiritual journey, and God realization, which is when you actually understand that you and God are one. And for all of us that have moved into this journey, that is the ultimate. That's really what I, for example, want to experience, is, no longer seeing any separation between myself and God, just seeing ourselves as one. So that's the intent that we'll hold for you today.
So I'm going to step up for a minute to
Beautiful.
put on the music so that you can listen to the Devi prayer while we do intention Diksha and open your heart and awaken your heart.
Yes, the best way to open yourself up to any profound spiritual energy is to sit in gratitude, because there's something about our hearts as soon as we go in gratitude, we tap into the power of the heart, and it just opens us up to receive. And that's what we want you to do, is to sit and receive. Before we do that, I just want to thank you for sitting with us as we had our experience today of going with the flow. It is so much appreciated. Michele, thank you so much for being daring enough to go with the flow with me today. And we will stay tuned. We'll have another radio program soon, and we'll just keep unfolding on this journey together. So much love to you.
And if you have any questions, feel free to post them on UBN or directly to Susan's Facebook page. And we can answer them via email or on the show. Several ways that we will make sure that we can assist you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Namaste.
And enjoy your Diksha.